The first thing I want you to know is this. This isn't just a story about temptation. It's about loneliness, silence, and the way a single moment can unravel years of carefully built walls. If you've ever found yourself questioning where the line between right and wrong begins to blur, then listen closely. Because once you hear what happened, you'll understand why I still can't look at myself the same way. It all began on a stormy night. The kind of rain that shakes the world outside and makes the inside of your home feel even quieter, emptier. I was standing in the kitchen of our suburban home in upstate New York, a mug of chamomile tea cooling in my hands. My name is Claire Miller, I'm 38 years old, and on paper, I should have had the kind of life people dream of. A white picket fence. A manicured lawn. A husband who wore tailored suits, shook hands with confidence, and told people at dinner parties that his wife was the rock of the family. But if anyone had stepped inside my home, they would have seen the truth, that it was hollow. That I was hollow. My husband, David, was upstairs on another Zoom call, his face lit blue by his laptop screen, his laugh echoing for people who weren't me. He hadn't really looked at me in years. Not when I put on the blue dress he used to love, not when I curled my hair just the way he used to beg me to. Somewhere along the way, I became invisible. The background character in his life. I carried that invisibility like a stone in my pocket. Heavy, constant, and impossible to put down. I told myself it was normal, that marriage always faded. That being ignored was just part of the deal. But I was starving for touch, for attention, for the smallest reminder that I still mattered. And that's when Noah saw me. Noah is David's son from his first marriage. I met him when he was 10, shy and quiet, with messy brown hair and hazel eyes that always seemed to be watching, listening. We bonded quickly. Maybe because his father was too busy, maybe because I recognized something familiar in his stillness. I baked him cookies. I helped him with homework. I cheered at his soccer games when David forgot them. Over the years, Noah grew taller, stronger, his voice deepening, his shoulders broadening. By 18, he wasn't a boy anymore. He was a man. My stepson, my family. And yet, something shifted. It started small. One Thursday evening, Noah came home limping, holding his lower back. He brushed it off, insisting it was nothing more than a muscle tweak. But later that night, I found him stretched awkwardly across the couch, a heating pad clutched to his spine, his jaw tight with pain. The sight made something in me ache. "You want some help?" I asked softly. He looked up at me, eyes tired but warm. I swallowed hard before adding, "I used to help your dad with his back pain. I could give you a quick massage. Just to loosen it up." There was a pause, too long, too heavy. Then Noah nodded. "Yeah. I'd like that." I should have walked away. Told him no. But instead, I fetched lotion from the bathroom and sat on the edge of the couch. He lifted his shirt just enough to expose the small of his back, and I laid my hands against his skin. It was warm, tense, alive under my fingertips. He exhaled, his body relaxing as I kneaded gently. At first, it was innocent. Simple. Safe. But then his shirt slipped higher. My palm brushed bare skin, smooth and strong, and something inside me stirred. Not lust, at least not then, but a spark I hadn't felt in years. My voice wavered. Too much pressure. He shook his head, his voice barely above a whisper. "No. You're the only one who makes me feel cared for." The air between us thickened. My heart slammed against my ribs. He didn't take it back. He didn't laugh it off. And though I should have ended it right then, I didn't. I kept massaging, pretending nothing had changed, even though everything had. From that night on, I noticed him differently. The way his eyes lingered when I tucked my hair behind my ear. The way his smile warmed when I walked into the room. He began to compliment me in small ways David hadn't in years. "That color looks great on you," or "You look nice today." Simple words, but they hit me like oxygen after years of drowning. The massages became a routine. Late evenings when David was upstairs or out of town. Noah would stretch across the couch, shirt tugged up, and I would sit beside him, my hands trembling as I worked over his muscles. It should have been harmless. But with every touch, every quiet breath, the space between us grew dangerous. His eyes would hold mine too long, and when I looked away, my chest ached with both guilt and hunger. One night, after I finished, I rested my hand on his arm a moment too long. He caught it, gently but firmly, holding me there. "Do you ever wish things were different?" he asked. My throat closed. I whispered, "We can't talk like this, Noah." He nodded, letting go. But the question lingered. And the truth was, I did wish things were different. Then came the night that nearly changed everything. David was away on a business trip in Denver, and the storm outside howled against the windows. I was in bed, trying to read, when Noah knocked softly. "Claire," he said, voice tight. "My back's killing me again. I can't sleep." I should have told him to use the heating pad. I should have shut the door. But instead, I led him downstairs. He lay on the couch, shirt off this time, the lamplight tracing shadows across his skin. My hands trembled as I touched him, and the room fell silent but for the rain and the ticking clock. Then, without warning, his hand rested on mine. Not demanding. Not forceful. Just a question. My breath caught. He turned slowly to face me, his hazel eyes raw, vulnerable. "Why do we have to pretend?" he asked. I whispered, "It's wrong." He nodded, but his hand brushed my cheek. My eyes closed. My pulse roared. When I opened them again, his face was so close I could feel his breath. Neither of us moved. Neither of us spoke. We just hung there in that fragile space where one choice could ruin everything. The next morning, I couldn't bear my own reflection. Nothing physical had happened. No kiss. No touch that crossed the final line. But it didn't matter. Because inside, I had already crossed it. Noah slipped me a note days later. "I'm sorry if I crossed a line. But I meant everything I said." I hid it in a drawer, but I couldn't throw it away. Because it was proof. Proof that I wasn't invisible. Proof that someone saw me. That was the most dangerous part. He noticed. He listened. He made me feel human again. And that's why I'm telling you this story. Not because I'm proud. Not because I want pity. But because loneliness can trick you. It can disguise itself as connection, as love, as something inevitable. But it isn't. It's hunger. And hunger can make you believe things you never thought you'd believe. I didn't destroy my marriage that night. I didn't betray my family. But I stood closer to the edge than I ever thought I could. And I'll carry that with me forever. So I want to ask you, have you ever been in a moment where the line between right and wrong blurred so much you almost stepped over it? What did you do? Did you pull back, or did you fall? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this story made you feel something, hit like, subscribe to Broken Vows, and remember, sometimes the scariest thing isn't crossing the line. It's realizing how close you came.